Hey guys, welcome back to Mo's Game Table. Today we're going to take a look inside the Battle of Armageddon, Apocalyptic Warfare in the End Times. This is a game designed by Kerry Anderson and published by Compass Games. What a dramatic cover on this game, and what an interesting and unique subject that's covered here. We're taking an End Times prophecy and we're going to see different factions, real world countries that we have here, broken into different factions that are all based around the stories in Revelations, and we're going to have a global conflict, as it says, an apocalyptic warfare in the end times. So let's take a look at the back of the box and see what this game's all about. The Bible contains prophecies about the final days, describing how the armies of the world will fight the final battle, and that without divine intervention, no life shall be saved. Certain biblical scholars have described how closely these prophecies correlate to our modern times and put forward scenarios for this climactic battle. The Battle of Armageddon is a 2 to 6 player game dealing with this final battle. The game brings together the forces of the world into the ultimate battle for control of the earth. The 19 by 33 inch game map represents the battleground stretching from Egypt to Iran. The 216 counters represent the armies of Israel, the Arabs, Magog, which is Russia, the revived Roman Empire, which is Europe, USA, and the kings of the East, which are China. The 149 playing cards capture apocalyptic events, 7 seals, 7 trumpets, 7 vials. Special powers, such as the Antichrist, Gog of Magog, etc., nuclear weapons, tactical, theater, and strategic, and homeland populations. Battle dice are used to resolve all battles. Players maneuver their armies across the map and resolve battles using the battle dice. Event cards are drawn each turn, giving players special powers or weapons of mass destruction, but they can also bring on apocalyptic events. Ultimately, the player who best manages the chaos and controls Jerusalem at the end of the game wins. The Battle of Armageddon provides a simple but challenging game system suitable for both seasoned and casual players. Players are forced to adjust their strategy depending on rapidly changing conditions as dictated by the event cards. Combat is bloody, yet managed quickly and decisively through the battle dice. Players must manipulate allies and opponents to achieve the goal of capturing the Holy Land. And we see an example of the map, the counters and the cards here, and the components. We get a 19 by 33 inch mounted game board, 216 counters, 149 playing cards, a rulebook, 6 scenarios and a campaign game, the player aid card, and 4 battle dice. It is a complexity of 5 out of 10. Time scale is 1 turn equals 1 week. 100 kilometers per hex, and we're talking unit scale of armies of varied size. It is for 2 to 6 players. It is average suitability for solitaire, and the average play time is 2 to 4 hours for ages 14 and up. So let's take a look inside and see what you get. All right, we got our cards, 3 decks of them. The combat dice, a half sheet of clarifications, a full color rulebook, player aid cards, a mounted map, and 2 counter sheets. So let's set up the map and take a closer look at the game. And here's a look at the mounted map that comes with the game. It is a beautifully illustrated map, and you can easily distinguish all the different types of terrain features on it, as well as the borders for the different nations. If you have any questions on those terrain features, you can find them in the terrain key along the bottom. The area of the map covers a range from Egypt to Iran, with Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Israel, Lebanon, Syria, and Iraq in between. You have a couple of holding boxes for Europe and United States forces, as well as the paratroops for Magog. Right here you have the turn order for the players, 1 through 6, because there are 6 factions in the game. Whether you're playing with 2 or up to 6, you'll go in this order. At the top right, you have the player turn steps, the sequence of battle dice rolls, and the sequence of losses, so you can easily follow along as you play. There are 3 different decks of cards in the game. We're going to take a look at 2 of them right here. The first are the alliance cards. These alliance cards are going to be handled by whoever has an alliance with this faction. So in this instance, an alliance has been agreed to between the card-holding player and the kings of the East. Next, we have population cards, and each player will get a certain amount of population cards at the beginning of the game. These are randomly drawn, And this will tell you not only your population, but the reinforcement points you get. You get 4 for 200 and 2 reinforcement points for 100. For the Israelis and the Arabs, they're going to be getting certain cards like these that are specific to their locations. For example, Jerusalem has 1 reinforcement point worth, and for Damascus, you get 1 reinforcement point. And the last deck of cards are the event cards, and there are several different types of cards in this event deck. This one here is a national card for Magog. It says that the Magog player may double all Magog hits scored for a single battle. Next, we have the Strategic Arms card. This allows you to destroy 1 incoming ballistic missile before it hits its target. The next type of cards are the Apocalyptic cards, and of course they're going to be pretty nasty. Vial 2, Seas Turn to Blood. All ground pieces currently in the at-sea boxes are eliminated, excluding air and marine units. Seal 4, Pestilence and Death. Each nation loses 1 homeland population card. And you can't have a Battle of Armageddon without nuclear weapons. There are 2 different types in the game. Tactical nuclear weapons allow you to destroy 2 enemy pieces in hexes adjacent to your pieces. And theater nuclear weapons allow you to destroy 2 enemy pieces in hexes not adjacent to your pieces. Now we'll take a look at the player aids that come with the game. This is the Army Legend. It gives you the breakdown of the air and ground units available to you in the game. For air, we have aircraft and helicopters. For ground, we have tanks, mechanized, and infantry. It explains to you their movement capabilities and their reinforcement costs on the right-hand side. And on the back, we have the map legend, which gives you a graphical representation of the different types of terrain, a list of the name of the terrain, the movement restrictions, and the effects on combat. And the remaining cards are all the different battle games that you could play as well as a campaign. Battle Game 1 is the Arab-Israeli War, which is a 2-player game. On the back is Battle Game 2, Magog Attacks, which is for 3 players. Battle Game 3 is The West Invades for 2 or 3 players. Battle Game 4 is a 2-player game, Kings of the East. Battle Game 5 is End of Days for 3 or 4 players. And Battle Game 6 is a 2-player deathmatch. And on the last sheet, we have the breakdown of the campaign games for all player counts from 2 through 6. On the front, we have the 2 through 5 player count. And on the back, we have the 6-player count. Next, we'll take a look at the counter sheets that come with the game. These are nice, thick chipboard, just like we've come to expect from Compass Games, and they do punch very easy. I've knocked a couple of them out already, so don't have any worries about that. Nice, bright, colorful, easy to read. For Israel, you got blue. The Arabs are in tan, USA is green, and Europe is in purple. And on the second counter sheet, we have Magog, which are the Russians, and the Kings of the East, which are the Chinese. Next, we'll take a look at the battle dice that come with the game. These are 4 nicely etched dice. The blue dice is for air-to-air combat. Specifically, on 4 sides, you'll have aircraft, and on the other sides, 2 of them, you'll have helicopters. For the ground combat dice, you'll have 3 sides that will be with tanks, 2 that will be for mechanized, and 1 that will be for infantry. Now we'll take a look at the rules. This is a full-color 20-page rulebook. On the front, we have the introduction and then a breakdown of all the different factions in the game, so you know who's who and what's what. Inside of the front cover, we have the components, and again, a breakdown of the playing pieces by color, so you know which factions are which. Get into the cards, a legend, battle game profile, your battle dice, starting your game, and then the player turn on page 3. Alliances, event cards, which we've already looked at, national cards, apocalyptic cards, all the nasty things those can do. Your tactical nuclear weapons, the strategic arms cards, and then how you do your reinforcements based on your population cards. Then we get into movement of your air pieces and your ground forces on page 8. Combat, how that's explained, and the dice, the blue dice are the air dice and the white dice are the ground force dice, and it explains to you how that all works here with multiple illustrated examples of play. Then we get the human wave attacks, paratroops, air mobile, Marines, and then we get to finale, the collapse and winning the game. Then we get to the credits, and then there's a frequently asked question part back here that Kerry has added in, the designer, to help you understand different aspects of the game. Some strategy notes, some general notes, and then what the Bible says. So you get a little bit more of a background of where the genesis, no pun intended, of this game has come from and what the motivation is behind the game. And then on the back of the rulebook, we have the rules in brief. And that is a look at everything you get inside of the Battle of Armageddon, Apocalyptic Warfare in the End Times. This is a game designed by Kerry Anderson and published by Compass Games. Compass once again knocks it out of the park component-wise. It's just really fantastic production. The rules look like they're going to be very easy to digest, and everything I've heard about this game is that it's a very fun game to play. This is very popular at conventions, and I can see why, because you get a lot of engagement with up to 6 players, and you have all these event cards and the different types of events that can be played in the game that really make it very interactive for all players. And I think that's really a great thing to see. Plus, it scales. You can play from 2 players up to 6. Solitaire-wise, you're going to have to kind of forget cards that are in the other deck. But I really don't have a problem playing solo games with cards. That doesn't bother me too much. But some people don't like doing that, and I understand that. There are systems, though, that you can use to make the gameplay a lot easier and to play smoothly. Now, one of the things I'm going to touch on is I know that right away people see the back of the box, they see what this game is all about, the Apocalypse cards and all. They might be a little hesitant because of the religious background, the setting that's used in this. And Kerry actually addresses that by saying in the fact that there's a question, is this for real? And his answer says, the answer depends on your personal beliefs. To many Christians, this is very real. To many non-Christians, this appears absurd. The game, The Battle of Armageddon, has been designed in a way that respects both viewpoints, neither preaching nor mocking, and presents a game with high entertainment value. So if you bear that in mind when you look at this game, I think you'll have a lot of fun with it, because this looks like it's going to be a really great game to play at a convention because of the high interaction between 6 players. And even great as a 2-player game. So don't write it off for 2 players either, because it's going to be a lot of fun. Looking forward to getting this one on the table here pretty soon and sharing my thoughts in a review as soon as I can. Well, I hope that helps you guys out if you've been curious about this one. If you have any comments or questions, post them down below. Thanks for tuning in, guys. See you next time.